Born from shadow, sealed in truth, ancient blood, but faith rooted proof. History whispers, legends pretend. She chose the light where darkness ends. Eyes that see what most can't find. Gift of foresight, disciplined mind. Cross held steady, heart on guard. Truth cuts clean when nights get hard. She reads the silence, feels the room. Past and present start to bloom. Fear don't live where faith stands firm. Another veil about to burn. Welcome to the diva dimension, where darkness meets divine intervention. Royal blood, but heaven sent. She don't flinch at what's being mentioned. From cold cases to restless minds, she pulls the truth from broken time. Grace and steel, intuition. Step inside the diva dimension. Duchess title.
All right, hello.
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 Hello, everybody. Welcome to Divas Dimension. I'm very excited to have you all here. I must say, last week I was a pretty crazy busy week. We have many guests rolled up. We're going to have some amazing guests coming up, and one of them did join us today. We do have Mr. Michael here with us. He is somebody that we're waiting for a little bit in a line to get him here with us. I want to say, Paul, thank you so much for making this happen for us. Mr. Michael, my crew, I should say our crew is always here. Donnie, Sue, and Paul. We are very happy to have you here. Welcome aboard. And
Uh-oh.
I'm glad you said that,
are
Donnie,
you
because
okay? Can we
I
hear
didn't
it?
want to talk over her.
Oh, she's back.
Oh, okay. Can
Oh,
we hear it? Do
yeah.
you want me to repeat everything again? So I'm
Yep.
sorry if there was an issue with audio. So I want to say we are quite very excited and happy to have you, Mr. Michael, here. Donnie, Sue, and Paul, we are very thankful and grateful to be gathered here again, with our viewers. And I can say that many people are brand new basically investigation report coming from your side. I know you have a lot under your sleeves, and I will pass the torch to Paul as long as he's done with his Slurpee.
Thank you,
Whatever
Danielle. Thank you, Danielle.
you're drinking there, Paul, you should share with us.
Oh, it's coffee, but you might like this one.
Sometimes.
Mm.
Coffee.
Check this out. I
I
got
thought
some
it was something
dragon fruit.
nice and cold that we can all cool off.
This looks like a dragon egg, but it's dragon fruit. And Sue says that she eats dragon
Mm-hmm.
fruit. And where's dragon fruit from? I forget.
Tropics.
But where? Like Hawaii?
Yeah, mostly in like Malaysian type countries.
Okay. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Well, anyway, tonight, okay, we have the legendary, the fantastic Michael Kopf.
My sister likes dragon fruit. Not really. I'm not a really fan of it, but my sister loves it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like that in mango. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank
And
you.
and can you tell the audience how you got into the paranormal?
I got into the paranormal actually by realizing I kind of grew up in the paranormal.
Oh,
I grew up metaphysical, and so I had a lot of experiences growing up, and I just told myself, oh, these are spiritual, metaphysical moments, learning lessons, okay. And then I started talking to some friends in a paranormal group and started to realize a lot of what people talk about in the paranormal is stuff I thought was just metaphysical. And so I had to come to terms with, is it metaphysical or paranormal? And then finally figuring out it's both and they're the same. And
mhm.
so that led to me having to relook at my life and relook at a lot of experiences growing up of, sitting there and saying, oh, this was just, a spiritual experience to, wow, that was an incredible paranormal experience, and I didn't even know I was having them.
Wow. And,
Wow.
and and some of your experiences, like myself, I lived in a haunted house, and a lot of things were centered on me. I had an entity that actually pushed me into a hot heater. I mean, that was very frightening. I had a entity out in the orange grove trying to entice me to go into the orange grove, and she was calling me by my middle name, like my parents do, and sounded like my mother. And says, "Dale, come here. Dale, come here." And I thought, wow, that sounds like mom. But I go into the kitchen and there's my mother. So this entity was mimicking the voice of my mother. Have you ever had experiences like that where it just scared the hell out of you?
I wouldn't say it scared me, but I do remember quite a few times, like, I would be with friends and we'd all be talking, and all of a sudden my head would like pop up and I'd be like scanning the room, and people would go, "What's going on?" And I go, "I just heard my name. I heard somebody call my name," and I was trying to figure out where it was coming from, who it was. And they would just laugh and they'd be like, "Oh, so you're having a crazy moment, huh? Too much soda, or you're getting sleepy, are you?" And I was like, "I don't think so," but it was like one time, so I was like, "Well, maybe I was." And then it would happen, like I would be outside and I would be walking around, and all of a sudden it's like the hairs in the back of my neck would stand up, and I would be like, start looking around, and I would hear my name, and I'd be like, "Who's calling my name? What's going on? Where, who, where?" And so I wouldn't say, I ever was a scared point of that. It's, I think, my curiosity overrode my fear factor, and I was like more curious because sometimes it would be like a female voice and sometimes a male voice. And so I was more curious who it was and where it was coming from.
Michael, we have a person here, Grand Deezer 12. Oh, there you go. You can read it for yourself.
It
Yeah, and I'll
says,
read it out loud for the audience. Question, Michael, before your experiences, what was your opinion on the paranormal, say, via TV shows, documentaries, etc.? Was it just a bunch of made up stories or just weird stuff?
I like this question because I started watching shows like Ghost Adventures, Destination Fear, Ghost Nation, and those were the three that really got me interested in the paranormal, to the fact of people actually go and try to, genuinely connect with spirits, was my thought of these shows. But then I started realizing as I'm watching these over the years that um, they're kind of more scripted to me, and so I kind of felt more disillusioned and started going insane. Okay, this is a place I'll probably never get to, so let's just watch the show to see what the location's like, and maybe I'll cross it off my list of bucket list locations, or maybe bump it up depending on what they did. But I will say, when it comes to like Destination Fear, they did investigate a location that I had been to several times. And so I was really curious to see and watch what the episode, and it was the Nazareth Hospital where Chelsea had the incident with the doll, and that doll has taken on a life of its own ever since that episode. But it was interesting to watch, and the one thing that was in common amongst all my friends who had been there and everything was we loved at the end the raccoon made an appearance in the episode, and we all would laugh at each other and go, yeah, we didn't get any airtime, but the raccoon did. So the raccoon got to represent us. And so the shows, I would say, for the most part, are good for seeing if it's a location that, is worth going to and worth investigating. But I don't know that I would say I would bank, everything that happens on the shows is reality, because I think it's too frequently you hear the grand phrase, "Did you hear that? Did you hear that?" It's like that just comes way too often, in my opinion. And when I first was watching Ghost Adventures, I liked how they had on their day one, day two, day three. So you knew this was taking time. Now all the shows are, they go, they leave, here's the evidence, an hour done, and everybody assumes this was all done in an hour. Nobody realizes how many days it took now to film and get this footage and do all of this. And so I think that's a little disservice. I wish a lot of the shows would bring that back, showing that there's like 4 or 5 days of investigation, 2 days of looking over and reviewing everything, and then the big reveal day, and not the, oh, everything looks like it's done in a day.
And Michael, it's so true. A lot of that stuff is scripted. I've worked with a lot of TV ghost hunting groups, and one in particular, I'm not going to mention the name,
Uh-huh.
but I went and got an EVP. It was a Class A EVP. And I handed it over to the leader. I'm not going to say his name. And when I was watching the TV show, which I was on, they played the EVP. But guess who got the EVP? They didn't say I got it. They said
Uh-huh.
the leader got it. And I'm not going to say his name. And I said, that's bullshit. I'm the one who got that EVP, not him. But then they made it look like he got the EVP. So and then the leader, pretending he was possessed, took one of the cameras and threw it on the floor, just for no reason at all. But they didn't show that on that episode. So yeah, a lot of that stuff is scripted. Reality TV is not reality.
And that's I'll pop in. I apologize. I think there was something with the StreamYard. I don't know what is it, but I think it's okay now. Can you guys hear me and see me?
Yes,
Everything
yes,
okay?
yes.
I'm
Yep.
glad.
Yep.
I'm
Yeah.
glad.
Yep.
So basically, when it comes to that, I'll just say I'm not a fan of reality TV. First of all, I'm gonna be honest. Many things are, of course, script. not just when it comes to paranormal drama. I'm even talking about some of these shows that are really not going anywhere when it comes to morality, life, respect for each other. I don't have nothing with being modernized. I'm a very modern and outgoing woman, but there is also a way of respecting yourself, respecting others, older and everything. But when I see some of those, like we have some in Europe and we have some here and everywhere, I cannot believe what it's all placed on the TV today. I'm sorry to say it is disgusting. And
Hmm.
I just go like, where is this taking us? You know, Mr. Michael, I know, I really honor your work. You are really a legendary person, and I know, for example, how much effort you put inside of your work. Mr. Paul, too. Myself, Donnie, and Miss Sue, maybe we are new inside of this, but we really want to show the truth and reality. And we want to connect to the people and give the message and share the knowledge, like your knowledge. But like you're saying, reality TV is something that I really do have a big problem with. I think it's uh, everything is scripted. Everything is made to make people excited, like you're saying, Paul. There is somebody who will always be in center of attention. It doesn't matter male or female. You know, everybody else is gonna be around me, and it's just brutal. And I really don't like any of the reality TV shows. I really,
Well,
and yeah,
in reality TV shows nowadays, I don't really have a major interest in reality TV shows, but it's two things that has evolved into them. I like the very, very old days when they were starting out with them. They would show progression, how they got to point A to point B in a
yes,
story. But nowadays, it's two things: one, ego, and the second thing is instant gratification. Instant gratification has evolved in a forced push out from mainstream media to, and I know this sounds crazy, but even Amazon has curated this instant gratification in us where we order something and it comes within a day or two. We just don't have patience anymore. And I noticed a lot of time TV does this, but have you noticed that in any TV show, when you ring the doorbell, the person seems to answer the door right away. And so it takes away our perception of patience. Because if you look at the older TV shows when my parents were growing up, it took a while for the door to be answered. They would show the person walking to the door to answer it. Nowadays, it looks like somebody's standing at the door right when you ring the doorbell, and nobody's like that. So I noticed that people, their patience level is literally gone down so badly that people need to see the beginning of the story, a little bit of the middle, but then zip to the end because they want the conclusion.
yes, I agree with that. What do you think, Mr. Michael, about all of these TV reality shows? Of course, we have paranormal TV reality shows where things are exaggerated and things are made up, and masses are tricked. Like some people give, I'm not going to mention the name because it would be disrespectful. I have to share this with you guys. I really do. Mr. Michael, I want you to pay very close attention as somebody who has so much experience. Last night, I got a phone call. And there is a lady on a phone call. She's watching the show, but I'm not going to mention the name. And I told her, watch it. Maybe you're going to learn something today. So, the truth, what is it? There is two gentlemen, and these two gentlemen are playing the music. As they're playing the music, they're saying that they're going connected to the extraterrestrials. And then there is a Bashara extraterrestrial coming through this man who's talking, and then extraterrestrial comes to him and he answers the questions. So they had a tour all around the North America, you won't believe. And I'm like, people are paying money. I'm talking thousands of the dollars are flying to say, okay, there is this so-called extraterrestrial setting, and it's inside of me. Every show it comes. So that extraterrestrial, every time shows up. So he never misses any shows. It comes exactly from that time to that time. How, I don't know. And then, I give you the lessons, and this extraterrestrial comes and I'm like, Christ have mercy. Where are the people brains? So I would like to know, guys, what do you think about this?
I never know you could put an extraterrestrial on a time and a clock, but okay.
I say the same. Okay. It's the same with Medjugorje. I was in the beginning, I was very, very young when that happened. I think I was maybe 3 or 4. I was very little, maybe even younger, because my sister wasn't even born, and there's a 6 years difference between us. In the beginning, I thought maybe these young children really did see the Virgin Mary, like they're saying. But then Pope Francis actually wanted to shut him down, and Pope Ratzinger said, "You are making fun of holiness, because how come Virgin Mary can show up at if you go on the Medjugorje website, every Saturday or Sunday, Virgin Mary shows up." So he openly said that she has a fax machine or an email, and nobody else can see it. So just these 3 or 4 girls that they stay, and now they're older women, like in their 60s. And I'm like, this doesn't make sense. So the Virgin Mary is continuing to contact you exactly when all these tourists came and the money comes at 3:45 tomorrow. Okay, everybody, we got there. Virgin Mary is gonna show up at 5:15, just like extraterrestrial. Oh, they're gonna come into me at 2:45 till 6:45 while I have a show. Like, really, it doesn't make sense. But I think people like that. So I would like to know, gentlemen and ladies, what do you think about that? And Michael, did you ever experience or maybe face that kind of, if I can say, dilemma, or maybe somebody trying to make you make up the story to make it bigger, or for whatever reason?
Well, I can answer that in two ways. One way is being a former channel. I do know I have set a set time where I would get together with friends and would channel a group, but I wouldn't necessarily guarantee who in that group was coming. So that part of it to me is a little suspicious, that you can guarantee the person that's going to talk. That part I find, eh, it could be, a group similar. And so that's why it's like, I always would say the group name, because there's different people in the group, and one may have a message and one, may want to talk. And if you always use the same one, that to me is odd, because there's so many other people that have different aspects. And so, yeah, that part is suspicious. But I could say, maybe the fact that they would set up space and call it in at that time, that could be, how they do it every day at the same time. But I don't know about being able to guarantee who's coming. Even I, when I was doing it, would say, I'm bringing in this group, and then a different group may show up, and it's like, oh, and what do you do? It's like, I'm a channel. It's who's here, deliver.
Mhm.
Sorry, it's not who you thought it was going to be. That's part of the deal, is we don't know. We don't have that proverbial, like you were saying, the phone to call up and say, hey, you're up, tomorrow at this time. Don't be late. It doesn't work that way, in my opinion and my experience. So, in that aspect, yeah, that's a little odd when they claim to be able to do that. But the TV shows about it, and the fact that people flock, is because, in my opinion, we live in a world where we have been misled about so many things, and made to, think the world is so dark and everything. We will grasp at any sense of hope. And if someone's peddling that, then they will flock to them like no tomorrow and be like, yes, I got to see this person. Yes, I got to be in the energy. My world is going to be so much better. And when it's not, then they get upset about, well, why it isn't it? But when it is, they think this is the greatest thing in the world. So I don't like when they do it on TV, the channelings and stuff, because again, you're only getting specific airings of what's going on live. I mean, we can't guarantee, you know, who, is coming through. And I do a mediumship show with a friend, and we do it for an hour, and our only hope is that whoever we bring in, somebody watching can claim that person. Otherwise, we're like, sorry, we got to let you go and move on. And sometimes spirits won't do that. They're like, no, you promised to deliver this. And so the mediums will just keep harping the same person, trying to get them to connect. And I don't know. Part of me feels like it's a disservice to everybody else in the audience that paid, like you're saying, the thousands of dollars to be there, when you're there for 2 hours and 3 people get messages. It seems kind of unfair. But then again, sometimes it's the person delivering the messages, and sometimes it's the spirits. So it's hard to say, but I wouldn't ever do it on TV because I don't want the pressure of having to connect, deliver, and be correct in front of the world, because you make a mistake and the world's never going to let you live it down. That's the way the TV and the internet works.
Hey, Michael, I got a question here from the audience, actually. Grandizer's asking.
Is it, sorry, Donnie, is it me or any of us, you guys? Because they're saying there's some dragons cracking. Are we okay?
Well, it's not Paul.
I've been hearing what it sounds like someone typing or eating.
Me too, but yum, yum, yum. Maybe it's a dragon in a bag.
Unwrapping something.
Trying to see.
Okay. Anyway, for Michael, question from the audience. Michael, what is your opinion on paranormal/ghost researchers who attempt, for whatever reason, good or bad, to debunk their material? Is this good for the community? Keep some honest, or nah? And here's a little follow-up. I asked this question because I seen a UK ghost researcher who debunked one video of the popular Foreman Brothers content. The Foreman Brothers rep got all defensive. It was a case where no one was supposed to be in the house but the researcher, and a ball falls down the steps. And on one camera, you clearly see someone is up there, but not a ghost or spirit.
So, funny story about that is I actually went on an investigation, and I noticed this chair starting to rock by my leg. And so I sat there and was like, hey, look, the chair is rocking. And then it stopped. And I was like, well, that's weird. Well, did I bump it? And so I was able to get the rocking motion by bumping it, but I was never able to get it to stop like it did before. And so I took that scenario and I reached out to Ben Hansen, and I said to him, this happened. What do you think? And he actually said to me, you have become a true paranormal investigator because you debunked or tried to debunk what happened. And that's a sign of a true paranormal investigator. And I took that to heart because so many times we can sit there and we see a chair move or we see the door close and we just go, oh, there's a ghost. Well, it could be, or it could be, whatever was blocking the door got moved and the door naturally closes on its own. And so we need to debunk because if there is a natural reason behind what's going on, we need to determine that and share that. And if it does debunk it, I think the community is better for it because we need to stop the just calling out whatever we think it is instead of what we know it is because a lot of trouble comes up from that. And one example of that is I was talking with the Warren Foundation Legacy, and they were telling me about a claim where a lady called up and said, my son, is acting weird. I think, we need to have you guys out there. And this paranormal team came out and they said there was a lot of demons attached to him. And they said, well, man, we'll be there in a couple of days. We're wrapping up a case. We'll get there. So the next day she calls and says, you don't need to come. And they were like, no, ma'am, I promise we can help your son. And she goes, no, you don't understand. My son took his life because of what the paranormal team said. And
Ooh.
to me, that should have rang loud and clear throughout every paranormal investigator. When you go to locations, especially people's homes, and you say, oh, you have 1 or 10 or 70 demons in your house, one, how do you know that? And two, you're leaving, but you're not giving them any answers or any hope. And so, what is this family supposed to do? And so it's like, there was just so many factors in that one story to me that points out the flaws and the mishandling of the investigation, and there's serious consequences. And I often will say, in interviews when I'm done telling that story, is I hope that team still, carries that in their hearts and minds. And I don't mean it to put them down. I mean it in that I hope you're learning from this. And I hope other investigators are learning from this and not just going on an investigation and claiming, oh, I got scratched by, a demon, or I got scratched by an angry spirit. Well, did you, or did you bump up against something and it left scratch marks? You gotta know this. And so I'm one of those that I actually will stop and when something happens I can't explain and take like 5-10 minutes to try and run every scenario in my head to explain it. And when it doesn't work, I'm like, okay, this is paranormal. It's unexplained.
Hmm.
I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, I believe it did.
I could hear
Andrew's like,
everything,
I've
but
seen
my
worse
system
encrypted
disappeared.
communities.
So
Yeah,
so
they got
sorry.
that going on.
Any more questions that we have, Mr. Donnie?
Not yet, but I think some will be coming.
Oh, sure. Paul, do you have any more? Because I will pass the torch more to you, that we can go deeper into the Mr. Michael's research and the studies. So, do you have more questions from your side before me or Miss Sue or Mr. Don start asking some questions?
Um, yeah, Michael, like with all your paranormal investigations, are you? I know. Well, I'm retired as a paranormal investigator, and I used to run HPI Halo Paranormal Investigations, and we were getting paranormal investigations of the yin yang. Um, Is that happening with you? Because well, with your podcasting and your paranormal investigating, when would you have any time?
So I don't investigate as often as I used to, but I will say because of I think the podcasting, I have had a few people reach out to me from watching shows on YouTube. They'll find me on Facebook and message me, and they'll be like, "Hey, I'm in this area. Do you know anybody in this area?" And the one thing I would love to tell people is because I have guests all over the US and international, it doesn't necessarily mean I know of teams in those areas. So when I get like, I have a friend that asked me in another state, and I'm like, I don't know about that state, and I'll have to look, and and if I'm in that area, I'll let you know, and we can go do something. Or like, well, that's cool, and so I feel bad in a way because I don't know of teams in every state, and I kind of feel like as a podcast host, I should, but on the same hand, I'm one of those, and I'm sure Paul, you're the same way. Is I don't recommend somebody I haven't investigated with. Just because they've been on the show doesn't mean I would go investigate with them in person and recommend them. So I don't like recommending unless personal experience, and I feel like because I'm a podcast host, a lot of people feel like because this guest is on my show, it's like an endorsement. And it's really not. It's just me sharing a different perspective and a different idea from another source. And so if you resonate with them, reach out to them. If they're in your area, great. If not, you know, kind of look around and, just keep watching different shows. And if I'm sure you're bound to find one that will end up being in your area, but I am starting to get more requests from people who are like, when are you going on another investigation? I want to go. I want to go. And I'm like, I, and the other thing I like to tell people is if I'm hosting, you're more than welcome to go. But if I'm attending, somebody else is hosting, I don't invite anybody because I'm one of those that's unrespectful to the person that I don't know if there's a head count limit like there is on some locations. And so if you show up with a party of 5 and they're like, there's only room for 10 and there's already 8 people there, how do you tell those people, hey, we can only take 2 of you, the rest of you have to wait in the car till we're done? It's like, that's not fair to me or to them. And so that's why I don't invite people on other people's investigations that they're hosting. But if I'm hosting, I will keep an eye on the number of how many is allowed and send out invites to all the people who I feel like don't normally get a chance and give them first crack at it. And then if they can't, then I go to teammates and I'm like, hey, let's go, check out this location.
Hey, Michael, I have to tell you, Grand Deezer 12 is going crazy over here. He's drinking a lot of coffee and he's asking a lot of questions. Okay. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I'll
So, Michael, which is the best documented ghost encounter in your opinion? A, the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall, Enfield Poltergeist, or the White House Ghost?
Well, I would have to say out of the grounds, and I will preface this with one, I have never heard of Rainman Hall. And I'm thinking I know Enfield, but I'm not 100%, so I don't want to misspeak on it. So I
That's
would
the one
have.
with the famous picture of that girl, like in the air.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
That
yeah,
famous
yeah,
photo.
yeah.
yeah.
And also too,
So
this my opinion, real quick. Like the infield poltergeist case, I think that is total bull. Okay,
well,
it's
Paul, then you're gonna like this because my answer would have been to see the White House ghosts because it's the one that I've
Yeah.
looked at the photos of like the ones back in the old days in the photos, and I'm looking at the fact of what photography skills were like back then, and the ability to make someone appear on a film in those days was a lot harder than it is today. So I tend to say, yeah, the White House has more documented ghosts
and
than
by incredible
of the
people
three.
too. Yeah, and the White House ghost has been seen by some credible people like vice presidents and other politicians. So you don't really think they're going to be looking up a story like that. So yeah,
Right. And the politicians normally not a resource that I would, use to verify or validate anything by because of the reputation of the politicians, what they do. But I will say though, when you see photos and you see, you know, other people's like takes on it, it to me makes you sit there and go, maybe. And maybe is all it takes is because I mean, when we look at, our first investigations, back when we first started, you know, we were told maybe there's something here, maybe there isn't. And so that's the grand word that got us interested is that maybe. And so I think a lot of great locations have been found on a maybe. And so don't ever discount what's going on. And the other thing I can't stress enough for people is yes, I'm going to kind of slap the paranormal shows a little bit again, but they make it look like something happens every time they're there. Even in the beginning of the shows when they were documenting everything, they make it look like every day something happens. That's not necessarily true. That's not a guarantee. And so I just can't stress enough that you can go to a location where let's say Donnie and I and Paul go there and we have orbs and we have apparitions and doors slamming and everything. And we're like, oh man, Sue's got to come and check this out. But Donnie can't make it. So it's Sue, Paul, and I the next night. Nothing happens. And we're like, and some people go, oh, well, Sue is, the paranormal killer. The spirits didn't like Sue. No, that's not it at all. It's whoever was active the night before is not guaranteed to be there the next night. And so we have this misnomer of something's going to happen every time we go there because of TV. And it doesn't work that way.
yeah, and if we had the investigation with Sue, Donnie, and you, Michael, I would come in and find out that Sue's telling a bunch of BS stories, and I asked her to leave. I said, "Okay, Sue, I can't put up with this kind of stuff. You're making up too many stories. Get out of here." Okay, and then Donnie's over there rigging stuff, and I catch him. I see a little wire that's hooked up to the clock, making the clock move. I said, "No, no, 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 Donnie, you can't be doing that. You're out of here. You're out." Okay, and then I go, Michael, the only legit paranormal investigator. Thank you. And come to find out, he's got all kinds of stuff rigged around the house, and I have to fire him too. I search the whole house, find out it's not haunted, and I become the hero of the show.
Hmm.
That sounds like something the Travel Channel would pick up.
I've got another
Oh,
question
my
here
God.
for you, for Mike. Do you think there's a golden age of ghost research? If so, what decade or era? Is it current times, or have we not seen it yet? Is it all due to the tech that is available?
Well, that's a hard question to answer because of the tech. So, I mean, I could sit there and go Hans Holzer and the Warrens. They were, getting evidence before people even really knew what was going on, and they're like the forefathers almost of the paranormal. So that to me, you could easily say is a golden age when, they sat there, did recordings, did, film back when the day when film was expensive, so you really didn't waste it and see what they got versus today. I would say, in today's terms, I think we've seen it a little bit because we're starting to see how people are utilizing their equipment around them, like cell phones, or a regular dictaphone or a regular camera, and going, we don't have to buy, a $3,000 piece of equipment when I can get one that's $50 does the same thing. Or, spend $20 and get like a bunch of cat balls and you can have, great evidence that way. So there's a time period right now where, we're learning how to use the resources that are available to us. And is some equipment better than others? Yes. But can it be made cheaper? Yes. Is it necessarily better, cheaper? Maybe, maybe not. And so we're at a period where we're learning that. And we're learning how all the equipment goes. And I will tell you, in watching some of the shows, a lot of equipment that I saw when the paranormal shows were big coming out, I don't see them on shows really anymore. A lot of that equipment. So a lot of the equipment's gotten phased out. And so if you're one of those that jumped in and was like, I'm getting this equipment because it was on this show, be prepared because you may find that it gets phased out and not used anymore, or a way comes better and easier. And so, but in true reality, though, I would say, and if we're talking the golden age of being able to answer what's going on with the unexplained, what's behind it, we haven't gotten to that golden age yet.
No.
With all the people that have come before us, and I'm talking like Paul, Hans Holzer, all of them, all have made great contributions, but I still, in my opinion, cannot sit there and say, oh, well, this experience is something like Paul had, and Paul's the expert, so this is what's going on, and this is, the answer. We haven't gotten there. And will we get there? I don't know, because the way I like to look at it is, so here's, the surface level. We go down this rabbit hole and we think, oh, I got answers here. Well, nope. Sorry, new questions have arrived. Now we're going down the hole more. And I don't know that we'll ever get to the bottom of the proverbial rabbit holes of what we're experiencing, what we're seeing. Are orbs real? I think that's going to be a debate that's going to go on for probably another 10, 20 years, because so many people can prove what it is, so many people can prove what it's not. And I don't know, anytime soon where we're all going to be on the same page about it. So that's why I would say the golden age has yet to come for being able to validate and say what is going on.
And Michael, with orbs, like in my investigations, I look for intelligent movement. So I probably mentioned this story before, but in one of our cases, Emily the ghost was actually draining the energy from the occupants. So one of my investigators said, Paul, I feel fatigued, I feel dizzy, I feel like I'm going to pass out. And I said, I wonder if Emily's draining the energy from you. And I said, go ahead and sit down. And I said, Emily, if you're listening to me, kiss him on the lips. And with 3 cameras, we snap a photo and we get an orb on his mouth. That showed me intelligent movement. And I said, Emily, if you're listening to me, sit on his lap. And the orb was now hovering over his lap. That was something I was able to deem as paranormal. And also, too, as for Ed and Lorraine Warren, a lot of journalists and some former investigators have claimed that Ed and Lorraine Warren were fakes or con artists, that they exaggerated a lot of their stories to make money. And and the skeptics also too, they made comments that the Warrens never provided any solid scientific proof of their claims. Um, like the Amityville horror, which they were involved in, they said that was a result of an evening with a bottle of wine. And Ed was known to also to hire a writer, a very good writer, to put these stories together. And I learned some terrible things about Ed and Lorraine Warren. Ed was known to also hit Lorraine, so it seems like he was a wife beater. And also too, they brought in a woman to live with them to clean the house and stuff like that. A very young woman, I think she was something like 16, and Ed was having an affair with her, and Lorraine ignored the whole affair. So that was kind of some of the things about. There's a lot of stuff written about the Warrens, and a lot of people they look up to Ed and Lorraine Warren as heroes when actually it looks like they're not.
Well, some of that I kind of wonder, is the claim true, or is it somebody who maybe worked with the foundation, got let go, has a vendetta, so started this rumor, because that's what goes on. And there, so I tend to take the stance of, when it comes to stuff like that, if I was there and I witnessed it, I will say yes, that did happen. Yes, it changed my view. If I wasn't there, I can't attest to what did or did not happen. And so I tend to try to stay out of picking sides, because we don't really know. And the sad reality is, we live in a world where, like, Sue can start spreading rumors about Paul because he keeps talking about her faking stuff. And people are going to go, well, Sue's got no reason to lie. So Paul, must be doing this. And Paul's like, I have never done that. And Sue's like, yeah, I made it up because of this. But, and people will take it as a fact. And so that's where I don't like to, you know, read up on people, what they do in their homes and everything, is because truth is, we don't know. And so I try my best to just focus on their work in the field of what I'm working on. And did they ever do anything? The fact that, they may have over exaggerated stuff. Well, TV does it all the time. And so, can we fault them for it? No. Did they bring awareness to it? Yes. And I had to say to the fact of, I don't like, Ghost Adventures because how he goes and antagonizes everything and then sends somebody else in instead of him. I'm like, I don't investigate that way, and I don't think it's right, but I'm not going to watch the show for that reason. And I make it clear, but a friend of mine was like, we wouldn't have paranormal TV, and a lot of the paranormal field would not be mainstream if it wasn't for him doing that. And I'm like, there's some truth to that. So, yes, I will admit, there is some benefit to it. But, yeah, so I don't even know why I took on your comment, Paul. It wasn't a question, but I did for some reason.
Well, I got this question here for you. Mike, which one ghost research tech needs to get the biggest upgrade?
The human element, to me, needs the biggest upgrade. And what I mean by that is when you have people who can sense things or can hear things, it is, in my opinion, like probably 10 to 20 times harder for them as paranormal investigators than somebody walking in with a digital recorder and a camera or a body cam, because they don't have physical evidence to point to say this is what's going on, but they can write things down, go to a library, validate everything, and that aspect. But we rely too much on technology sometimes, I feel like. And when I first started, I went and bought as much ghost gear as I could get, and some of it I still have not taken out of a box after all these years. And I, use some of the equipment all the time and some of it hardly ever, and I adapt. And so I would say, learning to trust yourself and learning how you investigate is what needs to be the biggest upgrade, because too many people try to emulate what they watch on TV or hear other people say that they do when they're investigating, and they say for 30 years. It's like, oh, well, they're the expert, so I have to do it like them. And I think that's the big letdown, is because some of the new blood that's coming in has great ideas but never gets acknowledged because they're viewed as new.
I agree with that. I have a one question. I even put the headphones on. There's some internet gremlins, I guess. So I don't know what is it, and I'm like, oh my god, it's making me frustrated. But I am listening and watching everything very closely, and we're learning so much from you. I have a question for you. You mentioned the human factor and human factor. Oh my God, I'm gonna say we have a wonderful, talented Mr. Koshik Sasha. He's a very talented and a good friend of mine that worked with me on the book from India. This gentleman has their own studio running everything. Thank you so much, my friend. God bless you. And it's wonderful to see you. Imagine the time difference, but he still managed to join us. A wonderful, wonderful, talented soul. Thank you, Mr. K. You are a wonderful friend and a person. Going back to my question, it is hard for people sometimes to say what they're feeling. I would agree with Andrew when he said, well, by the way, we do have the guts feeling. Guts feeling is never wrong. And that's my sister's cat now. I'm telling you, today everything is attacking me. If you guys hearing the noises, Tigger, you're making so much mess. So, this is a paranormal show, so anything can happen. So, if you see me getting hit in the head, I think something will happen. So, the truth what is basically, did you ever get that gut feeling or the place where you enter as a somebody who has so much knowledge and experience behind yourself, that I need to leave this place. There is something dangerous about this place. I don't want to be here.
I have, and I always approach it though of just saying, yeah, I need to take a break and step outside. I don't go running out, and I don't go, making a scene. I just kind of quietly just walk myself out and go and, ground myself, recharge, go back in. But yeah, there's been a couple of times to where I go in and I'm like, I'll close my eyes and I'll just be like, something's here.
Mhm.
Something is following me. Something is, pursuing me. Don't know what it is. Don't know where it's at. One time it led to me being stuck in a portal, and somebody had to push me out of the portal, and they took me outside, and I was like fine as can be once I got out. But while I was in there, I was non-responsive, and
Wow.
they showed me the video. I was in a cell, and you can see me fall, and there's like no padding, and my head hits the steel floor of the cell, and I go, "What's going on?" And they're like, "You were not responsive." I was like, "What are you talking about?" I had no idea how much time had gone by or what had happened until they showed me the video, and I made them give me the video of that because I was like, look, people, this when you go to locations and you open up stuff and you don't close stuff, this is what potentially can happen is somebody comes up behind you, doesn't know it's there, can get stuck in it, and could get hurt. And so I always make it a point of when I'm doing an investigation to open space and close whatever space I open, and I also will go the extra mile if it's people I'm not sure, who they are. It's first time
Mhm.
investigating with them. I will close everything, even their stuff, because I don't want what happened to me to happen to somebody else.
Thank you. That's a very good advice and a very, I could say, caring and kind advice that we can all learn from. So you did hear, ladies and gentlemen, from somebody who's an expert and has so much knowledge. If you ever would like to do basically things that you never did before, or you want to go inside of this kind of research and study, take some advice from Mr. Michael because I think that you may need it. Miss Sue, do you have any question for our guest?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to quickly a couple things. I want to quickly dive back to when people do shows and they try to do have some sort of entity come to them when they do shows. You can always pray and ask any angel, saint, Mother Mary, God, Jesus to come visit you, but they will also look upon you what your intent is. So, for example, if you're wanting them to come down so you can just show them off to make some money, they may not be cool with that. So, you may hand it off to someone else. And a lot of times they do make things up. The other thing I want to talk about, Michael, is that have you ever had to prepare yourself when you do go into a place? Did you ever had to also kind of shield yourself from it, like have some sort of like a bubble that you put yourself in so that you don't get attacked so much. And I think that's one of the things that can be done, like shield and ground or whatever to protect yourself and kind of make yourself untouchable. What do you think of that?
I personally, ever since I started paranormal investigating, I always will put a layer like of energy around me that nothing can get through. So trying, and I've had instances where I can feel like something's trying to get into my energy field, and I'm like, nope, not going to happen. You're not getting in. And if they do get through, I just up my shield and add new layers, and it's an ongoing deal. But I always will go into a space protected and will clear myself when before I get in my car, before I leave the location as well. So I'm a firm believer in if it's a meditation you do beforehand, cool. If it's a prayer, cool. If it's, putting holy water on, whatever you got to do it. Because the intention that you have of this is going to keep me safe is much more potent than going into a location and then saying, oh, I got pushed, I got scratched, all this stuff was happening to me. Well, why? Because you didn't protect yourself, and you could leave feeling sick and have so many attachments, and everyone's looking at you and going, why are they all picking on you? Well, because you're the one that's has no defenses up, where all the ones that are seasoned are probably sitting there going home and kind of laughing at you because they're like, you bring this on yourself because we protect ourselves. We tell you to, but you choose not to. So you're on your own.
Do you have any like special obedience or crystals or something that works better than others, like cross necklace or certain types of beads or things like that? Do you wear like on your wrist or a certain ring or whatever
I
that works
used
better than other?
I used to wear um I forget what it's called, but it was a meteorite kind of stone
Motorbike?
powder. Well, Moldavite was if I
Well,
wanted to
that's for
channel,
ET.
I
Yeah.
would wear that. But no, this I think it starts with an S or something. But it's like a black powder, or you can get it in a black stone form, or you could get it in like a keychain. But it was designed to block EMF and block
Shungite?
energy. Shungite, that's it.
Yeah. Shungite? Yeah.
Shungite. So I would have
Yeah.
shungite around my
That's
neck. I'd have it around my wrist. I'd have it in my car. I'd have it in my equipment. And so, and then I added organite to it as well to beef it up some.
okay.
And
Links here.
then I got a little quince seed that does a protection around me that's supposed to be like a 3 foot field. And so it's just a seed and resin. And so, yeah, I do. I always will keep my basics, but add to it. So if something gets to me, I'll be like, up, I need to up my game. It doesn't mean that what I have failed. It just means, hey, time to add a little bit more protection in. Again, too, the most important thing is the intention that you put behind it. Because I can send you Shungite, and if you're like, well, this looks nice, but it ain't gonna do anything. Guess what? It ain't gonna do anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
You
why I say that the intention is the important thing.
Yeah, you can use Shungite for a lot of things, especially to block negative energy and especially like for your computer router and stuff like that, leaking all kinds of 5G and types of energies and stuff that are not good for you. Tiger's eye, yep, I saw that. Look at all those, yep, all those
Yep.
crystals. Thank you, Andrew.
So yeah, and so it all comes down to what you are, what resonates to you. Like we can say
Everybody's energy is
Tiger's Eye will
different.
do
Yeah.
this, and Paul goes and gets Tiger's Eye, and he's like, "This doesn't do anything for me." Well, because it wasn't the right stone for you. But obsidian may work for you, and so that's the thing. That's what I always tell people. Why you have to trust yourself and trust your intuition. Is you go in there with the intention of protection, for me, you're going to walk towards whatever protection you're going to get, whether it's, a loose stone or it may be a bigger piece or it could be a piece for your car. But in the end, you're going to find the piece that's right for you, and that's the piece that's going to work. And we can talk until we're blue in the face over buy this, buy that, buy this. And it doesn't amount to anything until you find what works for you.
Thank you.
Everybody, I have an appointment at.
And this is quite amazing. I know I've been in and out, but guys, internet is quite crazy, and I'm following it on the phone and on the basically on the laptop. So I'm connected. I have all the cables. I brought even the headphones. I'm trying my hardest, but I am supporting the and I'm still listening very closely and being part of it. Sometimes things are out of our hands. Maybe, Mr. Michael, you did bring some gremlins with you. And I would like to know what you really think about that movie.
Oh,
Because,
hold on for Michael before you go. Listen, everybody, I have an appointment. I have an
yes, go ahead.
uh, I have an appointment at 6 o'clock, so I'm going to bow out. But Michael, it was wonderful talking to you, interviewing you. You always have some fantastic stories and information. Thank you for coming on to the show. Thank you, Danielle, Donnie, Sue. I hope everybody had a great 4th of July. I had a terrible 4th of July because my two dogs were so scared and they were shaking. And my poor little Irie was running her little paws like this because she wanted to run, but I was holding her tight. So, 4th of July is one of my least favorite holidays. But I hope everybody else had a good holiday. So, but
I did laundry, Paul, so I'm not that far behind you.
And Carolyn Castro, hello, hello. I see Carolyn Castro over there. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and bow out. Sue, Donnie,
Yes,
hit Michael with some tough questions where he's confused and everything else.
well, I have like a couple minutes too because I have an appointment at 6 o'clock as well.
All right, you take care of there. Bye, everybody.
No problem. We'll continue on our own. Thank you, Paul. I will then break a news next time when you come. I'll keep it quiet.
Okay. All right. Cool. 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 All right.
Okay. See you all. Mr. Michael, uh, Mr. Michael, before we let you go, please let us know where we can find you, where we can find your work, and how we can connect to you, sir.
I can be found on Facebook. I'm also on Amazon. If you look me up, you can find me with my books. My podcast shows are on YouTube. You can find it under my name, or you can find it under my show titles, which are Paranormal Verses, The Energy That Surrounds Us, and Riding Through the Unknown. And Paranormal Verses is a show that I do with Kel Ridley in the UK and Anak Smith in North Carolina. We get together and talk paranormal with Kel in the UK, so that adds a little bit of fun to it. And I get to translate the Geordie accent for guests, so that's always fun for me. And so those are the main spots that you can find me, as well as being on Rumble under the show titles. You'll find me on those channels.
All right, cool.
Thank you. Mr. Michael. Yeah, and if you also don't mind, you can send me some of your work on my email, on my Facebook, so I can share it with others. And I usually try to promote people, and I send their work inside of the messengers, so people, like you can see, even far away from all around the world, they can see my work and everything that you do. You can share that with us. And I want to say thank you so much for joining us today on this show. We and God bless you, and may you be happy with all of your work and everything that you do.
Thank you. And I'm not sure, Danielle, if we're connected on Facebook. We'll have to check that out. But I am with Donnie and Sue, so if we're not, you can find me that way, probably through them.
All right.
And so, thank you guys for a wonderful evening. And I wish I could stay longer,
Wonderful
but
day, and thank you again for joining us.
yes. And hopefully, we'll do this again and I can have more time.
Oh, of course, you're
Cool.
more than welcome to join us anytime you want. We will love to have you back again.
All right. Well, thank you all.
All right.
Miss Sue,
Bye, everyone.
tell me, how's your day going? Anything new inside of your meditation speciality? Anything that you would like to suggest for us that it can make us more relaxed, especially to this crazy time? FIFA is around, people are getting So how you can help us that we can feel more relaxed and more cool?
Well, the meditation, by the way, the best way to, it depends what's bothering you. But for example, if you had somebody cut you off in traffic, you have a coworker that you don't like, or you had something that's going on with whatever hangout you have, one of the meditations I recommend is a cloud meditation where you put everything in that cloud. You imagine a cloud being in front of you, you put everything in there that you don't like. You can put the person in there, you can put words that they said in there, you can put anything in there. And what you do is once you watch the cloud, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And when you put everything in there that upsets you that particular day, that particular moment, then you can either use your breath to blow the cloud away, or you can imagine a wind blowing the cloud away and watch it go further and further. And as it does, you notice that whatever was upsetting you will also grow distant too. And you keep going until you can't see the cloud anymore. That's one of the immediate things. Each meditation technique
Wow.
is for depending on what the situation is. Something that has to do with your past, then you would use maybe a hallway meditation. And that meditation allows you to imagine being in a hallway and you see all these doors. Each door represents a point and a moment in your life. You pick one, you open it, and you see a scene that
Mhm.
absolutely upset you, maybe something in the past that bothered you, because anything in the past will affect your present and your future. So, for example, like if you were told that you can't do it, for example, you had maybe an abusive parent that said you can't do it, you're a loser, or whatever. And so that will carry you, that kind of trauma will carry you throughout your life. And so it's harder for you to get a job, go to interviews because you keep hearing that you can't do it, you're a loser, you're not going to make it, you're not good enough. So what you can do is you can revisit that person that put you down in the past, and you can watch them play out the scene, and then you talk to them and tell them how you feel about that. Then you tell them what you would like to be done about whatever they said. For example, you can say, well, I didn't appreciate you saying that to me. I really didn't. You're not very nice doing that. And you talk about everything, you just pull it all out. You can even cuss if you want, whatever you need to do. And then when you're done, you go to your past person, your present person can go to your past person, you can talk to them, give encouragement, say, you know what, that person was wrong saying that to you. But you can do it. You're awesome. You're wonderful. And you can strong and you can get this job or you can have a wonderful future. You encourage yourself and then you give yourself a big hug when you're done talking to your past self. And if you leave the room, then if the door disappears, then it's done. It's settled. It's gone. And that will make you start to feel better and you can start feeling
Mhm.
yourself heal from the situation as the day goes on. So every types of meditation for
Wow,
different stuff.
that's
Yeah.
quite beautiful to know
Yeah.
and to learn.
Hmm. For
Yeah,
anxiety, you would do a
and
spirit meditation. So
this is
yeah.
quite crazy.
Hmm.
Maybe the internet is better now. It's out of my control. So there's not too much I can do about that. I bought the extra cables. I put the headphones. I brought the phone. All of these things, but I must say, sometimes I don't understand too much energy and all this static. Funny, are you watching FIFA?
Me?
And
No,
is
no, I'm
there
not watching it.
anything or anyone that you're cheering?
Is there anyone that I cheer for? I'm sorry, what was the question?
You are not watching. But
Yeah,
I'm
no.
not sure. I don't know who's playing now. I'll have to check.
I
Yeah,
think US is playing right now.
yeah. Is there anyone you're cheering for?
I was cheering for Korea, but they got knocked out. So I guess I'm cheering for the US. So yeah.
Hmm. Sad. Yeah, we got kicked out too by Morocco. So hopefully now we have states left. So I have states left, and if states is out, then I'll go after France. Well,
Hmm.
if France is out, then I'll choose somebody else. That's how I go. Miss Sue, do you watch World Cup of FIFA
Yes,
like the soccer?
yes, I was watching it and watching the countries kind of get canceled out. But it was one of the things that I actually
Uh huh.
find
Uh huh. Who
amazing
are you
that
cheering for?
I was cheering for the U.S. I was cheering for
Ah,
Korea too, but I was cheering for mostly the U.S. But one of the things that fascinated me is a bunch of countries that, especially England, that were coming to the U.S. and they were absolutely floored of what America was actually like because they've been lied to about what our country was like. They talk about how we are not very nice, or the type of attitude we have and how we handle our day to day. And they come here and they learn that we're really nice. The food is good, and we have wonderful hospitality. So it's great that people are
of
experiencing
course.
our country, and realize that, one of the big things that actually gets me is that especially England, they were talking about how amazing air conditioning is, and that's like a total mind blown for them. And it's normal for us.
Mm-hmm. And one thing for somebody who is European, I am proud to be Canadian and European. English hooligans, especially basically the crowd that is going and cheering for them, they can be quite wild and nasty. And I know when they come to different parts of the, Europe, they would even put them in a separate cages. So I'm quite proud of Canadian and American police, the way they're handling everything and keeping the peace. That there's no fights between crowds and everything. That people can cheer peacefully, like you're saying. And I can experience the continent as we are, not as welcoming. There's good hospitality. To me, it's like a one country. It's, states in Canada are two big sisters. So to me, they're two beautiful countries. They're both, very close, of course, to my heart. Canada is my home. States is another beautiful country that I really do. So far we still have states. Morocco beat us up. They kick us out. Korea was pretty good. Japan, is Japan still there? I'm not sure if
Hmm.
Japan is still there. I was impressed by Japan, but maybe some underdog does win this time. You guys never know. But
Hmm.
internet is getting better. I think we kicked them out. Paul is gonna start laughing now. Paul, if
Hmm.
you're listening to this, I think you bring all the gremlins with you. It's not me, it's you. So I'll give him this message to watch at end of the show. But I am thinking, so for everybody that it's in the chat, next week I have Sue. You're gonna love it. Dawn, you're gonna love it. We do have Grant Baker here. He's gonna be with us. We also do have Daryl Denton from the Texas. He was a major of Texas. He was also big researchers. So in many different fields. So we're gonna have a paranormal field open for many questions for these two gentlemen. I maybe have one more guest that will join us. And then on 20th, Paul is bringing us another movie producer, a big one. And on 27, I have a big ghost researcher and also historian. So it's going to be quite amazing. We have show packed up with many different great guests. I'm going to try really on my internet. Donnie, why the internet is so good now? You are my tech. What's happening? Why did really Paul bring all of the gremlins? What's happening?
I don't know. You might have to ask Paul that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a
Uh-huh.
StreamYard thing.
I'm gonna chase him. I'll say, Paul, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know. And they did like a couple times we pop up. He said Wi-Fi needs to be checked, reconnect. So that's why I was in and out. But it doesn't matter. We still made it. It's wonderful to see you, Miss Sue, Donnie, my great friend, and Paul, my great friend, and of course our wonderful guest, Michael, today that had so much experience to share and teach us, ladies and gentlemen.
Maybe you could put your
Please
phone case in
do
holy water.
not miss the I'll do that. You know what? You gave me a suggestion. Why not? I'm a person that is open to everything. I'm not closed up. You know me, Sue, for a while now, Mr. Donny. You know me. You never know.
Hmm.
Maybe there is something flying around that I'm not sure about. So I will check into that. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Please, subscribe and share. Next week, join us because we do have Grant Baker and Daryl Dayton in here. So we have two amazing research studies that, we're gonna have Bigfoot, we're gonna have UFO, and maybe we touch a little bit about the politics. Why Area 51? It's still, they're saying it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It's a mystery that nobody did enter the door through. Maybe it's a mystery that nobody did enter the door through. Maybe on adventure. So adventure, pack up. Somebody else is gonna go to search for Area 51. God bless you all. We'll see you guys next week. Everybody in chat, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed, and think about something that is important. Remember, everybody, the internet is good. your wallet. It's not your money, it is your family and it is your friends. Give them a hug. Love you all. Keep safe and be blessed. And one more thing. Yes, happy birthday, America. We had one on July. You had it on July the 4th. So happy birthday, America. Hopefully, we see you even stronger in 2027. It'll be 251, right? Wow, pretty
Yep.
close. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. God bless you.
Bye.
Born from shadow, sealed in truth, ancient blood, but faith rooted proof. History whispers, legends pretend.